we're always excited to meet the newest generation of really qualified wildcats and kind of show them what life is like at Gallo. So I'll kick things off with a little introduction here. I have met a few of you guys, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Massimo Lesti. I'm the sales recruiting manager for E&J Gallo Winery. I'm living down in Southern California, so I work for the affiliated distributor down here in Los Angeles. So excited to come back to Tucson this September. I've been in this role for since January, but I've been with the company for almost 4 years. My 4-year anniversary is in October. So I've held 4 different roles actually in under those 4 years. So it kind of gives you an idea of just how quickly you can move upward within the company. There's a lot of upward mobility. But I graduated from Chapman. I was a business admin major. So, but that doesn't mean that we don't hire from other majors as well. We like to say that everyone can find a place in the wine industry, and especially in sales, being that it's such a transferable skill. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Just to give a little bit of background, E&J actually stands for Ernest and Giulio. They were 2 brothers who founded the winery back in 1933. They are the sons of Italian immigrants, and they ended up taking over what their father had established and created what is now the largest winery in the world. And it being the largest winery in the world, it is still privately owned and actually owned by the Gallo family. So that gives us a competitive advantage in a lot of ways that we'll talk about in a second. Now we have 4 generations of the Gallo family working still, and we have a president at the helm that is also a Gallo descendant. You can see how vertically integrated some of our operations are. Not only are we just a winery, we don't just do wine and spirits, but we also have our own warehouse, our own bottling facility. Gallo Glass is enormous. We have our own R&D in-house, and even shipping and sales retail as well. These are some of our core values. We try and live these every day. They're not something that just hangs on a poster board in the back of an office. And that kind of comes to the forefront in all of the accolades that we earn, not just in being one of the best places to work, but also overall business performance, diversity and inclusion. So not just for diverse candidates, but also for U.S. veterans, LGBTQ plus community. Fairy God Boss is for females in the workplace. So really try and be as inclusive of an environment as possible. And sustainability is also really important to us as well. Given that agriculture is kind of at the base of all of our products, we believe for a couple decades now that making sure that we're carbon neutral or even negative is super important. Some cool facts going off of that is that our Gallo Glass facility actually recycles 30+% of all glass recycled in California each year. So I know living in California, we recycle a lot. And so to say that 30% of all that glass goes through our facilities is pretty enormous. So talking a little bit about our portfolio, this is just a brief glimpse of our product line. You can see that we have a lot of coverage internationally, stemming from Europe, New World places like Argentina and New Zealand as well. We really have always established ourselves in the popular and economy, beginning with old school brands like Carlo Rossi, more recently acquiring brands like Barefoot and Black Box very recently. Have our sparkling alternative packaging is also very big for us as well. And then spirits, we actually branched off our spirits portfolio into the Spirit of Gallo, which is kind of its own brand, but is still, of course, under the Gallo portfolio. And this is something that we're seeing a lot of return on and are obviously making a lot of continual investments in. So these are some of the newest investments to the Gallo portfolio. And kind of like Pete was talking about, you don't really know what products are Gallo products until you've kind of done your research. And a lot of that is because, you know, we have the private equity to be acquiring these products and bringing them into our portfolio, but still letting them kind of run independently. And this acquisition that happened in January 5th of 2021, we call it the Serious acquisition because we acquired a huge consortium of products from Constellation, which is another big beverage supplier. And this is actually the largest acquisition in the history of the wine industry. And when you think about a private company making the largest acquisition, that just doesn't happen in a lot of industries. So Gallo really is unique in its ability to further its coverage of different product lines. So this was over $1 billion in estimated distributor revenue. You can see how many cases we add, and we're actually integrating a lot of the employees still, 350 plus, into our workforce. Why did we make this deal? We believe that delivering these brands that customers value and trust is really helpful for creating a more complete portfolio across all price points. It does increase our premium plus wine portfolio, which we've seen premium wine is trending in the US as well. So definitely something we want to stay on top of. And we still get to remain a family-owned company. So I think that's just really important, and definitely translates as an employee as well. We also got some cool facilities if you're ever visiting parts of California, Lodi, Paso Robles, Geyserville. Those are very accessible. Hogue as well, and up in New York. And that's just kind of, a microcosm of our ability to scale. So really being able to have a presence in a lot of different parts of the industry just allows us to find more dominance in the industry now that we have 1 in 3 bottles sold in the retail market. Pretty crazy to think about. And again, kind of goes back to that idea of, I had no idea that this brand was a Gallo product, but you normally think of just those 1.5 liter bottles, and actually, we have things in the luxury prestige echelon of luxury wine. So that's a little bit about the company in the background. I wanted to just briefly cover that so that you guys had an idea of, what is the company recruiting students for. So now I'm going to talk about our 2 programs that we recruit for on college campuses. We have our full-time opportunity, which is the one I'll discuss now, and then I'll cover the internship briefly. So our full-time opportunity is called the Sales Leadership and Development Program. So you've probably heard a lot of leadership development programs. This one is set up fairly similarly. We divide it into 3 phases, and it's not necessarily a rotational situation. It's really transitional based on merit, but you do you transfer into each of these 3 phases as you gain mastery of the position that you're in. So the first phase is a sales representative role. This is the role that I started out with. 95%, I would say, of all of our sales professionals are always going to start as a sales rep. And that's really just learning how to structure a territory in a wine distributor and basically run your own business. And the second be a district manager. So this is when you're actually managing a team of other sales reps. You get to really learn sales leadership of an entire group, learning how to train them, how to mentor them, how to inspire them to learn more and basically become the best sales reps that they can be. And then after that, phase 3, we call it multiple opportunities. That's really when the floodgates open in terms of what kind of sector of the industry do you want to get into. So you don't have to stay in sales if sales isn't ultimately your niche. I went into recruiting just as, case in point. But we have a ton of different opportunities in marketing, in chain marketing, finance. There's really a whole litany of ideas there. So this is kind of it broken down in a different way. A couple things to talk about in the sales rep role, because of course this is what we are bringing students in initially. So this is not cold calling. This is a pre-established, you're selling to pre-established accounts. So that means that for us, you're really in a safe environment to learn how to work in sales, but you can also still learn how to make those connections with others. But yeah, just a little bit about the sales rep role. It's all pre-established. You are not earning commission, you're earning a fixed hourly rate, and you can also earn some incentives on top of that. So again, it's just a bit more stable. We believe that creates a more long-term relationship with our buyers, so that you're not stressed to kind of push the envelope too much with them, but rather create a consultative relationship with them. Just some highlights about that. You get to learn a lot of different things like working independently, flexing your problem-solving skills, analyzing your business and seeing where you can improve. And I always say, the reason I wanted to get into sales was learning not just how to sell a product, but how to sell myself, how to become a reputable partner in business. And this role absolutely establishes that for you. The district manager role, which is what you'd get into maybe, a year or 2 after your sales rep role, once you've really proven your mastery of that role. Really, we break it down into 4 parts. You're managing a team, you get to lead them and lead sales initiatives. you're coaching and motivating them to perform to their highest potential. And then you're also driving sales in your own way through innovation and building those relationships with your sales reps accounts as well. These are some of those opportunities in phase 3. So I mentioned things like marketing already. We have supply chain, sales training, spirit specialists. So the list really goes on, and you've seen how robust of a company Gallo is. You can imagine that there's a niche kind of for everyone within that. And like I said, 95% of these leaders are promoted as sales reps from within. So we really believe merit-based promotions are what drive our company to maintain its excellence. Lots of training. I'll kind of brush over that, but just know that we have one of the best training programs in the industry and for sales in general. So that's our full-time opportunity. I'll briefly go over the internship program. This is for juniors going into their senior year. So it's 8 weeks. It is fully paid, and it's based out of Southern California. So it's a full-time 8-week seasonal internship. And you get to experience a day in the life of different sales professionals. So basically, you're shadowing everyone from sales reps all the way up through the chain of command in terms of sales, and even branching off into things like shopper marketing, talking to fine wine and spirit specialists, going to on-premise accounts. So you really get an all-encompassing glimpse of what it is that we do at the distributor and at the winery as well for Gallo. So if you have interested juniors for things like that, a super ship, it's very competitive. We only take about 6 interns a summer, but it's a very in-depth. We actually just had our interns wrap up. Yesterday was their last day, so they had a great 8 weeks. Just make sure that they're 21 by the start of summer, and that they are turning or that they have they're graduating by the year after. So I'll just close out with this to kind of encompass what Gallo stands for. Shanken asked our president, what lessons do you take from your forerunners who led the family business? And Ernest said, hire great people, invest in them, listen to them, and create a culture and an environment for them to thrive. So that's something we really believe in, even down to the distributor all the way up to the winery. So thank you for your time.